But we don't show prep, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a 6-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. Real Portland live from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the 6-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards of hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6-ring Kane show. The 6 Rings Kane show. You know.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the 6 Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Welcome back, man. We got the whole crew here today on a Tuesday night after the national championship. And it was, man, you know, Vish, I know I've told you this before, but I like Michigan. I'm a Michigan, I like the Michigan Wolverines. I grew up with the Fab Five, so I'm excited to see them win the national title, It's
You're the one.
I'm the one, man. It's a well-coached football team. It's a talented football team. They won where it looks like Mario Cristobal wants to win, in the trenches, running the football, being aggressive, being physical. And then making some plays, right? They made some big plays on both sides of the football. So, I'm excited for the future. If that's what we're striving for, then let's go, man. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it rolling. But we're still 9 months away from another game, so we got to talk about what's on and popping today. Look, not only did we say, Vish, we're not going to do the show today, and then like 10 minutes later, Reese Poffenbarger commits, because that's how life works around.
I mean, we should get some credit for landing that commit.
We should. I know we should. From now on, that's what we're gonna do. If we expect somebody to pop, we're just gonna be like, no show, we'll do it tomorrow. Boom, then we'll get a pop. We'll get a commit. Anyways, Reese Poffenbarger, man, committed to Miami. Got a kid out of the University of Albany, an FCF school. I want to get, before we even get into the meat of it, I want to get your take, all three of you, on how you feel about this signing, this commitment from Poffenbarger. To put away, I know it's hard to do, right? But kind of put away what thought process was, or the process was, to get to where we at now, right? Missing on whoever it is that you want to say that we missed on, or guys that we've spent too much time on, yada yada yada. What is your overall assessment? And I'll start off with you, Blue. Your overall assessment of Reese Poffenbarger, in your opinion, and what he can bring to the Miami Hurricanes.
Plan Z, depth, waiting for a guy to develop like JB or Williams, or maybe bring in to his brother if he's okay, and he's cleared for a year. all it is it's going to be it's not a given that any of these guys are going to start. They're going to have to earn it, but it adds depth to the position. Not a savior by any means. He's tiny. He's got an average arm. He played. I watched him in high school, and he came from Maryland. He went to Old Dominion, and then he left, and he's okay. You know, he's a guy that you bring in, and as DJ and I were just saying that you get a Reese Poffenbarger and you settle. It's a settling situation. It's not anybody. It's gonna take you. He's no better than anybody you have now. To be honest with you. The only thing that differs with him is he has games under his belt. I still think, and I've said it all along, that Emory Williams and Ja'Cory Brown, along with Judd Anderson, are the immediate future of this program. And but I was hoping that they could land Tua because of the fact that, I mean, the guy's the all-time leading passer in the Big Ten. I mean, you know, he comes in there with credentials, not that he beat New Paltz State University, but, you know, I mean, it just, to me, that, you know, when I saw it and it, you know, and I can understand how fans think, but as soon as he signed with them, committed, whatever he did, the Hurricane boards lit up. Oh, we got the savior. No, you don't. No, you don't. You got two recruits that were heavily recruited that are sitting, you know, at the University of Miami. One's healing up and the other one is coming off a bowl game. They're the guys. There's the guys that you recruited. They're the guys that I think that, again, along with Anderson's going to be thrown in the mix too, but he's young and he's going to have a year of learning. But that's my take. I mean, you needed to get more bodies and you got another body, and it just serves for competition, and you need a quarterback room with 3, 4, 5 guys. You can't go into the season with 2. And so I think the key though is if Tua's brother, what is his name?
Talia.
If he's deemed eligible, I think he comes in and the rest of the quarterbacks continue to learn under him because he's got the experience. He's got athletic ability. He makes plays. And I think he's going to be okay because of the fact that Maryland and Alabama have been in his corner to try to push him through. But that's my take. You know, I mean, just another dude on him. I know we'll talk a little bit about the All-American games because I was excited. I'm telling you, but we'll get into that. I'll answer that for you, Jazz, and then I know we're going to talk a little bit about the performance of some of the Canes recruits in those bowl games. And you really had to be pleased at what you saw.
Well, as Jazz left, I'll just hop in here. He was
hanging on for dear life, it looked like.
If he didn't like your Reese Poffenbarger take, he's gonna hate mine. But he's sort of backstage. You might be back. Here we go.
There you are.
Yeah, the thing is, I'm doing this on my stupid phone, and if I get a phone call, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell? Anyways, I heard everything, obviously, but so I got this question for the rest of you, right? For Vish and DJ. So Blue brings up a great point, right? This is definitely not plan A or plan B or even plan C, right? I think at the end of the day, you know, not to sugarcoat it, Miami, Mario Cristobal dropped the ball in this quarterback recruiting in the transfer portal. I think he had the opportunity to get a couple of different guys, not just, you know, he settled on being a little puppy and running behind Cam Ward this whole time. But, however, you know, he had an opportunity at a guy like Will Howard. He had an opportunity at some other guys out there. And I love the prospect of having Will Howard here. Mm-hmm. Here's what I will say, right? So Miami needed to get a guy to come in here and bridge the gap because I just don't think Ja'Cory Brown is completely ready yet. However, he has shown a lot of development. You saw it in the bowl game. Played pretty well. He didn't play bad.
Yeah.
And to be quite honest with you, if that was the kind of game that I was going to get from Ja'Cory Brown, throughout the season, then he would have been my guy over Emory Williams. I think he would have won us some of these games. I think the FSU game was up for grabs with a guy like Jakari Brown, right? I think he had an opportunity, but he played well. So I'm not opposed to having Jakari come in and continue to develop and potentially be that guy. I think what this does is it doesn't bring Reese Poffenbarger. They didn't bring Reese Poffenbarger in and say you're going to be the starting quarterback here. However, it brings in an opportunity for Jakari and the rest of that room to compete with each other. And if Reese wins out because of that, like you mentioned, Blue, right? Because of that experience, because he has games under his belt, excuse me, then great, perfect. If he doesn't, then and Jakari wins out, now you got a point where, hey, he's developed enough to where I'm confident now that he can come in and win some games. We may not go 12-0 or 13-0, but he may win 8 or 9 games. And now you're talking about, again, another increase and another a good year, solid year, right? This is not, I don't want people to think that he's going to come in, that Marvin's going to come in and be like Coach Harbaugh and win 10 games his first year. It didn't happen that way, right? We need to kind of temper our expectations and understand that it doesn't matter who was going to come into this team. We weren't going to go to the national championship next year. Let's just call it what it is, right? We're going 15-0. So the point is maturation, it's development, it's continuing to build off of that culture. At the same time, he did jump the ball from a quarterback's perspective because we could have gotten a quote unquote better player. However, this is where I kind of differentiate. I kind of differ from your opinion, Blue, in the sense that I think the kid is better than some evaluators think he is. I also know, right? I think we all know that Miami wasn't the only team that was going after him that was a big-time school, right? He had other big Power 5 conference teams that were looking at him. 2 or 3 SEC programs. You're talking about Georgia, Florida, Auburn. These are all schools that were in the mix to get him. And some other programs like Houston and some other guys. And, of course, some lower-level Group of 5 schools and Power 5 schools and whatnot. But the fact is, I think that he's a guy that's going to come in. He's going to compete with JB for that starting position. He's got a good opportunity to be the starter next year. If he does, I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with it because he came in and he beat out Jakar. However, I think it's going to be important to see what they do with Talia, with Baby Tula, as I like to call him. Because, yes, if he comes in, I think he's immediately your starting quarterback, or at least your, potential starting quarterback. So, at the same time that I think that Reese is a little bit better than maybe some people think, I don't know if he is going to come in right away and be, and say, you're the starting quarterback here. But he does have an opportunity. I think he has enough talent. I've seen some of the tape. I like what he does. I think he's confident. He's got moxie, and I think that that's very important as well. I don't know if you need a huge arm to win in college football. I think you need to be able to find your playmakers, make some big plays, and I think he's got big play-making ability. I still think he needs to develop a little bit, but he's got an opportunity to come in. And with a name like Reese Poffenbarger, you better be really good or you're going to be really bad. There is no in-between, okay? I don't know what his name has to do with any of that, but that's just my opinion on it. No, but, I want to hear your take, Vish and DJ, on what you think about Reese coming in and competing for that starting job.
So I think it was I'm on Blue's side here. It was a death take because we had to. Like this, let's just be blunt about it. The quarterback room is worse than it was last year at this time right now. And so to your point, Jazz, he swung big, and I'm okay with that, but he struck out. And whether or not and some of that is, we all know Ward agreed financially terms, so everyone was kind of comfortable that he was coming, and then he didn't. There were certainly quarterbacks, if you're using a highway going down the analogy, he drove past a bunch of exits and then ran out of gas. and that was where Poffenbarger was standing on the side of the road and he picked him up instead. So, I mean, it's a good, he had to do something because you cannot go into, we actually talked about this. We're running out of quarterbacks. So he needed depth. And like you said, this is a kid who's played a lot of football. But I do think we have a problem if we think he's going in there to Gainesville and winning that game to start the year. Like that is a big step up from what he's played before. And he was last seen getting dominated by South Dakota State in their biggest game of the year and played awful and got overwhelmed by the moment. And he's going to go into the swamp and win. I mean, I if he's a guy like Jess said, if he wins the job, he wins the job. He should then go in there and start. But if you're asking if I'm comfortable with this quarterback room right now, hell no. We need another guy in there, in my opinion. And but I get it. Like I will defend Mario on this. Like we wanted to upgrade from TBD, who was erratic, but he had his ups and his downs, and we tend to focus on the downs. Like we don't win the Texas A&M game without him throwing 5 touchdowns. Like there are ups too. And so when you want to upgrade from that, you do need to get that experienced veteran. And he went after the best quarterback available in the portal, and he convinced him to come here. And then the guy reneged and went to the NFL instead. And he got left there holding, like he got left at the altar essentially. Yep. This is a good, I would say this is a good recovery move because he's a good locker room guy. He's a good guy with the amount of football he's played as a starting quarterback to have in this room. Because, look, yeah, if we could have circled back and somehow gotten Will Howard did not go to Ohio State, even though he already decided to go there, great. But, we held out for who we thought was the best quarterback. And if you want to elevate as a program, you have to do things like that. And sometimes it blows up in your face. This time it did. This is a good recovery. It's a kid that will be good in practice, will push the other quarterbacks as well. And again, they can all say Emory's going to be ready for spring ball. We don't know the condition of his health, so it could have just been Jakari and Judd Anderson. This is another guy that'll be able to take reps and like you said, at least force. Because one of the things I will say for last year, there wasn't really a quarterback competition. It was going to be TVD's job, period. This year there is going to be competition unless Talia comes in, and then you kind of know it's his job, right? And so this is someone that'll push the rest of our quarterbacks to get better as at worst. Right. As at worst, he'll provide depth and push the other. Because we were down to Jakari and walk-ons at the bowl game, and then Emory's still hurt. Like that's a barren room. So no knock on the kid there. Look, it's the reality of what happened.
I think that's what it is.
We swung bid and struck out, and
it's worst case scenario. He doesn't pan out, but he pushes Jakari. Jakari beats him out. And now you've got an experienced backup that can come in and potentially do something, right? Because he's still, quasi-talented, I guess you could say. But, he's still a guy that can come in. Best case scenario is he comes in and he's Cam Ward from Incarnate Word all of a sudden comes into Wazoo and lights it up for, right. That's the best case scenario. He comes in and he kicks everybody's ass. So it's a low risk, high reward type of scenario because you didn't spend a lot of money in NIL. And you still got yourself a quarterback with some experience that can come in and potentially bridge the gap or at least give Jakari some competition and helps him to elevate his game. DJ, do you like the move of bringing in Reese, or are you kind of disappointed? I think we're all disappointed, but do you think this is kind of a wasted move on Mario's part, or do you like them bringing in Reese?
I don't think it's a wasted move by any means because, like the others have alluded to, this brings experience into the quarterback room. And Poffenbarger is talented. He threw for over 3,000 yards last year, 35 touchdowns. But at the same time, this was probably one of the more deeper transfer portal quarterback classes in recent memories. And in that respect, we absolutely blew it. So I'm just wondering if Poffenbarger's game will translate to the ACC because it's a big step from Albany. But, I do see the point about bringing a veteran quarterback in, and I definitely, think that's needed for the room. My thing is I think we truly left a lot on the table, and this isn't the first time we've left something on the table and had to make a decision to settle late, I guess you could say. So I'll wait and see what happens. But if he's a starter for the Florida game, then we have a lot of problems.
All I want to know is what the hell is Max talking about in the chat?
I'm not even going to show it because if it's a reference to But shout out to Max in the chat.
What do you
Dan
mean? That's a
Barry.
reference to a Daddy Yankee song, bro.
I know, but
Yeah.
anyway, gasoline
What's
does not mean filling up at the pump. Anyway,
Oh, come on, Fish. Jesus. A él le gusta la gasolina, bro. Come on now. Shout out to Max, bro. We love you, dude.
she's a member of OPEC, I guess. Anyway, shout out to Dan Barry, Les
Yeah.
as well in the chat.
I got a question. So obviously, let's say, right? So obviously, Poffenbarger comes in and he's competing, and we get the waiver eligibility blue for baby Tua. How many games do you think we can win with a guy like Tua? That's just or baby Tua.
Let's call him his name. It's Talia.
Yeah.
Let's not do that to the kid.
Oh, stop it! Who cares? Baby Tua. Baby Tua.
Who cares?
No, he cares. I can almost guarantee you he cares.
Yeah, what the hell are we doing here, man?
Well,
Man.
Thank God he's not here on the show, anyways. What do you think? Does this elevate us and put us in 9, 10 wins, 11 wins? Do you think that he has the type of talent to come in and be able to bridge that gap and do well this year?
I'm not going to say a number. Me and DJ are going to ponder that during the summer and come back with our.
You were right though this year, but you were right. So
yeah, well,
if you just
by
kneeled the
way,
damn ball,
yeah.
you wouldn't have been right.
Yeah. Hey, Jazz, did you see the guy Fayava ends up at Georgia?
Yeah,
From
I saw
UNLV.
it.
Yeah.
I saw
Wow.
it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that was interesting. You know.
I do wonder if some of this, and speaking about Poffenbarger as well, except we don't really have a starter, so he could potentially find his way into that role. If some of this is bigger programs going to smaller programs and say, hey, you can be part of this program, you're probably not going to play, so have some consistency, because you can get a 5-star. If he's not playing in a year, he's going to transfer.
Yep.
Sure.
And so by taking some of these kind of lower rated kids and giving them, hey, you get to be part of Georgia football, that might be enough to get him to
multiple years of eligibility.
Yeah, they have multiple years of eligibility. This is kind of like this is a way to keep people in the program that otherwise would be out of there.
Yep.
Well, I think he has talent. I think Maivia has a little bit of talent. He's just young. He's still young, and he's still learning the position.
A lot of interceptions, not a lot of touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
What was it? What was his? What did he throw? How many?
I think it was 16 touchdowns and 10 interceptions or something like that. I have to look it up.
All right. Well,
this is,
as a freshman quarterback,
this is Blue's team. He's probably seen a lot more than us.
He did good this year. I know that he did.
Yeah.
They did.
They had a good season, man. So he's a freshman quarterback. I think him coming in as a sophomore, going to Georgia and learning under Carson Beck and some of the coaches that they have there, I don't think it's gonna hurt. I think if anything, can make them.
It kind of gets you thinking. You're the kingpin starting every single second at one school, and now you're going to see, time against. Actually, if you saw Georgia's schedule, it makes up for the crap that they played the last 3 years.
Yeah,
they've got a pretty challenging schedule, so I don't expect that he's going to get in unless Beck gets hurt.
About darn time. That's what I have to say with that. But no more cupcakes for Georgia early in the year. About damn
Although
time.
they were early preseason number 1. I don't know who's figuring that out, but I saw that, and then I saw Michigan at 2, Oregon at 3, and Alabama at 4. So
and we're 5, right?
Yeah.
You just missed the cut.
Damn.
It's like when I used to do my top 100, and the kid will go, "Oh, coach," I said, "You were 101, man. You just missed it."
Oh man, do you guys like the potential? And I know kind of Blue already answered it, but DJ, do you like the potential of bringing in Talia to be the starting quarterback here?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I think he's your automatic starter if you bring him in. He is very good throwing on the run. He has a very strong arm. He's very accurate. There are some times when he's a little bit loose with the football, but the potential is there, the arm strength is there, the mobility is there. I mean, I would be all for bringing him in. Absolutely. I think he would complement this offense very nicely. I got to see him a little bit at Maryland, and just him on the field. He elevated that team, by himself with his ability to move out of the pocket and make throws on the run, and he was a receiver's best friend, over the course of his career at Maryland. So I would love to have him here at Miami.
So, Vish, let me ask you this, right? Because you're talking about a lot of interceptions from a guy like Mayava, whatever his name is, and some of the other guys that were in the portal. But, I mean, we're talking about Talia was, 25-11. So he threw 11 interceptions as well this year. He has a tendency sometimes, okay, to make the bad throw, the bad read, okay, when things get a little tight and under pressure. He did throw for a lot of yards. He did have 25 touchdowns, which is better than 16, of course. However, he still has a knack for throwing an errant pass here and there as well. Do you think that under a guy like Dawson and this system, it'll allow him to play more free, not worry about having to make those mistakes under pressure, going out there and making the right reads, making the right throws, and he'll actually develop and be develop is as strong. He's 24 years old already, so at some point he's got to develop is relative. So, but
he's got to BYU. He had to fit in pretty good out there. He probably would have been the youngest guy on the team.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. That's true, man. But look, not numbers that blow you out of the water either. Yeah, he's the Big Ten leader in passing, but he was there for a while too, and not a lot of huge names on that list aside from maybe a guy like Drew Brees. So, still a good player. I like him. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I like him. I think he's a solid player.
Me too.
I think he can come in and be good. But what say you about the potential for him to be turnover prone sometimes as well?
He's not the only one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. I mean, look, again, we're shopping in the discount aisle, and he's the best thing in it. So I agree with what you said, Jazzer. We're not a quarterback away. It didn't matter who came in from being what Michigan is this year, next year. That just wasn't going to happen. So he's the best quarterback we can get. So we get him in there. Is he going to be perfect or wart free? No. Are we going to get annoyed when he throws a ball into double coverage and gets intercepted? Yes. That's the reality of it. Now, whether the system is more friendly, I mean, he is coming out of a Gaddis offense. So he put up numbers there. He can do it. It's like New York. You do it there, you can do it anywhere, right?
Last two coordinators, actually. So.
Yeah, so he's but on the other side of that, I mean, we still don't even we've seen one quarterback play in Dawson's offense, and he threw a bunch of interceptions. So,
and it wasn't his guy, which a lot of people are saying if he gets his guy that he likes to come into the system, different story potentially.
I mean, who knows? It's a lot of unknowns, but from a talent standpoint, from an experience standpoint, from having played a high level of football standpoint, he blows the rest of our room away. So, yeah, absolutely love to have him, and he would be the starter, and he's our best option right now, realistically, to have the best season we can next year, and that's where we're in. And I know we're talking about patience.
Discount, right? I think he's actually better than a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily count him as a discount type of player. I think he's still very raw in some aspects, like you guys are talking about turnovers and how he can make the occasional bad throw, but at the same time, his play style fits very well with the offense that Shannon Dawson wants to run, and so I think that could be a good fit. Because the other part of it is, what do you do to help the quarterback? You surround him with good receivers, and we have some really, really good ones coming up right around the bend here.
Oh, and you want to hear something funny? And I think you'll all get a kick out of this. He has had really good numbers the last couple of years, right? I mean, 25-11 this year. Last year, he had some pretty damn good numbers as well. It's a good quarterback. Who have his two offensive coordinators been at Maryland? And he's been able, Dan Enos and Josh Gaddis. And he's been able to do what he did. He's been able to do what he did at Maryland. I like our prospects here with him coming in with a guy like Dawson. I think he'll be all right. So I'll just say that. So I mean, we'll see. I think he will. Like you said, Blue. I think he will get that waiver. I think what screwed him was those two plays that he played when his brother got hurt, right, in Alabama.
Right.
That he already had 4 games in. He came in. They asked him if he wanted to play, and he said yeah. And he came in for like 2 plays, and that was it. And that screwed his fifth his fifth game, screwed him up for his fifth game, not to redshirt or something like that. I think the story goes something like that. So I think if he comes in, then now you're talking about, and you mentioned it, Vish, you're talking about a stronger quarterback room, some competition, some guys that you can develop under, and then you bring in the following year Luke Nickel, who's potentially going to be a top 5 quarterback in this class, maybe even the top quarterback. He's
I'm ready for him to come here already.
Yep. No kidding, for real. So
we need him.
He'll be back down here again this year.
But
Milton's going to play back down here again to kick off the season, so we'll get a chance to see him again.
Cool.
We should definitely go out there to
I do think it's really important, though, that we win a lot of games next year. We are into year 3 now. You can only for so long say figuring things out and it'll get there. And eventually you are what your record says you are, right? If we come back and win 7 games again next year,
not a good look.
Yeah, and that's where it's hard, assuming he stays healthy. It's hard to imagine not being better with Talia than we were this last year. And that, again, then you're showing, as long as you continue to show that linear growth, you can sell it. 5 wins to 7 to 9 to, hey, you come in here by your sophomore year, we're going to be playing in the playoffs and all. Like, you can sell that. If you go 5 to 7 to 6 or something, and then everyone starts heading for the exits. So this is a big year for Mario.
I agree. Yep.
Blue, what are your thoughts on how? And this is a great segue to what your thoughts are on the job that Mario has done overall in the last 2 years, recruiting, coaching wise, everything. Do you think he is on the right track here at Miami?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the big thing is this, as Vish said, year 3, you gotta have turned the corner. You really have, because you emptied out all the guys who were quote unquote dead wood. You brought in a lot of your own guys. You have a coaching staff that now rolls up its sleeves and coaches, and as we see with the recruiting, it's probably an incomplete grade, but we'll be sitting here in 10 months. And as you said, 7 wins is unacceptable. Unacceptable. Especially in this day and age of college football where, turning the corner is a 2-3 year deal. And then you could be especially with 12 teams vying for playoffs. If they're not in the playoff picture in 2 years, there's going to be a lot of disgruntled people.
No.
I'm not saying win it, but at least be in that, top 12 team within a couple of years, 2 years. I think by year 4, end of this year, he's got to kind of show, oh, wow, Miami's going to be really good in 25. And that's when I think things got to turn around a little bit. But, yeah, I agree with Vish. I think this year is an extremely important year for this program.
Yep, I agree. I know there's a lot more to go. There's a lot more to go when it comes to the transfer portal. I know it's only begun. You probably are going to start hearing some more names start to drop and pop off now and commit. So the transfer window did close. However, guys can still commit and all that. It's about entering. Nobody can enter now.
Is the window to enter, and then there's also in after spring ball, there's more.
Oh yeah, that's going to be crazy. So after spring ball, you're going to see a whole bunch. Look, the truth is that Miami has to wait for a couple of guys to transfer out or leave the program because we don't have enough spots right now. And I'm sorry, I'm just checking the chat there, but we don't have enough spots right now. We've got 89 scholarship players, including the transfer portal guys, and you need to be down to 85 at some point. So, they've got to do some evaluating again, and I think they need to get down to a certain number. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. So it's going to be interesting to see what Miami does in the next.
I mean, some of that stuff will happen naturally. I mean, if you think about it, if Talia comes in here, are all 5 of these quarterbacks going to be here? One of them might get the portal in the spring, right? After they compete for it.
It's possible. Definitely. But you got to think about it this way, right? Talia he's a 1-year guy. And I think Emery and Jakari both know that maybe Jakari is going to fight for that starting job, but I think Emery knows that he's probably going to redshirt this year based off of his injuries. You got Poffenbarger, who's got a couple of years. They might stick it out this year and maybe go somewhere next year, but you're right, Vish. I think you could see definitely one of them, whether it's Jakari. I mean, it's got to – honestly, the only option is Jakari because Emery's not going to go anywhere because he's hurt. Poffenbarger just transferred in, and Talia just transferred in as well. So if anybody, it's going to be JB. So, which would kind of suck, but at the same time, that's why I think you brought in a guy like Reese Poffenbarger, right, to kind of be that
right. It's a security too. It's security. Mohammed with the dono.
Thanks, Mohammed. Appreciate it.
Well, why doesn't anyone break the fact that we're guaranteed to lose 2 or 3 games here because of how bad a game day coach Mario is?
Well,
this is a fair question.
Yeah,
this is a fair question.
Hold on. It's a fair question in the sense it's not a fact. So calling it a fact is not a fact.
It's not a fact, but it's a pretty good argument.
Well, there's a couple of things, right? There's layers to this. I will say bluntly, he is the worst coach I have ever seen at managing the clock, and that's even if you remove the kneel down fiasco. I mean, we still have 2 timeouts left if someone wants them. Like, I mean, it's insane. And it's every game is like that. We're losing possessions, so I totally acknowledge that. However, how often, teams like Washington that find themselves in a close game every week and win them and go far are rare. In college football, you assemble teams where you're basically winning comfortably. Where if you compete at the top level, you don't find yourself in 2 to 3 close games a year, let alone lose all of them because of clock management issues. So, I mean, it is a problem. We talked about this right after the bowl. He needs help. Clearly, he's not capable. It's a skill he does not have, and he needs to not be stubborn about it and get help. I always believe people can improve, and him included. But if you elevate the talent around here, so you're not, in a 1-possession game with Rutgers or Georgia Tech, you're not losing those games because of clock management. And we also did win 2 overtime games this year. And he got a lot of crap for finally kneeling the ball against Clemson. If he'd been more aggressive there, he might maybe throw a pick and lose that game at the end of regulation instead of getting to overtime. So, I mean, I have been as frustrated and vocal about this. And so I'm not saying that there isn't a problem there, but no, it's not a fact that we're going to lose 2 or 3 games a year because of his game day coaching.
I mean, I said this on John's show a little while ago.
And I'll say just for the last 2 years ago, we hardly played any competitive games. We were getting blown out in the regular. So just got our ass kicked a bunch.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
my Middle Tennessee.
I get what he means about this year. And I think that if you correct some of those things, and this is why I said it, John's, I think it's more than just the players. I think this coaching staff needs to get better. They need to learn and they need to understand that, the players are obviously have to develop and get better, but you guys as a coaching staff need to do a better job of managing, not only managing the program, but, like you mentioned, managing the clock, understanding the situations that you're in and making better decisions. I think that if they don't do that, they will struggle a little bit. So I think it's important for sure. They're going to have to do their part. If not, I know if the team is, the team may be talented enough where coaching doesn't matter at some point, but this is not the 2001, 2000 Larry Coker team. This is not a team that's led like that yet. And so you need to have the proper coaching, the proper development, the proper understanding of how to take care of this team, how to be able to coach this team correctly. And they got to do a better job. And if they do, that's great.
I honestly think that this year is going to tell a lot about the direction of the Mario Cristobal era. If we have a solid year where we win 9 or 10 games, then things can start to progress. But like we said earlier, if things, still, 6 or 7 wins, then some questions are going to have to be answered.
Yep, I agree. Before we get on out of here, there also has been a little bit of some talk about some of the coaches, potentially leaving. One in particular.
So actually, wait, before we do that, Blue, you had to leave a little early, right? And I know you wanted to give your thoughts on the All-American. So can we get Blue?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Blue, the floor is yours.
Well, obviously,
we're about to get out of here anyway. So
yeah, but I want to make sure Blue gets his.
I want
we got the oracle of high school knowledge over here. We got to use it.
Yeah, no, I just watching usually every year you watch these all-star games and the guys from Alabama or Notre Dame and but this year, if you're watching the All-American game and you saw the two studs in Lightfoot, and obviously, I mean, this is a kid that. You look and I think the comparison was so justified when they said, you know what, he's a lot like Jason Taylor when he was in high school. And I agree because he's tall and this kid looks like he's going to come in and he's going to like Bane. He's going to force somebody's hand fairly early because he's cat quick. He's smart. And then obviously watching Pickett's dad play in high school and watching him play here at the University of Miami. The apple certainly didn't fall far from the tree here because this kid's a man child. I mean, he has the opportunity. And the thing a couple of years ago when we got Leonard Taylor and but you see, to be a power team like Georgia, like Alabama, you got to have 3 and 4 of those type of guys. Like everybody will say, well, geez, Georgia just got 20 kids taken in the draft and they're going to have another 20 next year. It's because of the recruiting. And I think Miami's, for this 2024 class, you can't say anything but positives. And it's showing up. I saw Ryan Mack at the Under Armour game, did a tremendous job. I thought he did, because here's, that's why I take these stars and I throw them right out, and I'm sure Max, who's listening and, he agrees because productivity is everything. And that's why you look at a lot of these players. And I was just so bowled over by the way that some of those guys approached what people had to say about them during the week of practice. And yeah, that's basically what I had to say. And then the kids are starting to filter on campus this week and we'll start them into the, we're going to get them obviously in tune with the college lifestyle, classes, conditioning, things. And that's why I said the best thing ever was made was getting kids in, allowing these kids to come in January, because I've seen what they look like in May when they come back home. And it's a whole different story. They're more mature from the fact that they're more confident in themselves because they've had a weight room. They're eating around the clock. It's no more, oh, well, I skipped breakfast this morning because I didn't have any money to eat. See, so these kids are all maximizing everything. They're going to condition. And I'm excited. I'm really excited about the future of this program. Just got to get over this hurdle this year. From an offensive standpoint, if we could get over this hurdle and find a quarterback at the end of this year that you go into 2025 with, and you say, okay, this guy's here for a couple more years. But that being said, this freaking portal and NIL deal puts you in such a tough situation where you're not only recruiting your next cycle, but you're recruiting your team to have to stay. And that's the toughest part of this whole thing. And I was on a show last week and I said the same thing. You've got to make sure, when you go, well, this guy's not getting any playing time. Well, it's an automatic. He won't be here next year. It's just how it's happened. And I'll say it for the 200th time. Nothing against the NIL, nothing against transfer portal. But if you leave a school, you got to sit out a year. I'm sorry. That's just the way I feel. Might be old school, but it's the only way you're going to be able to put a curb on this because the NCAA got no cojones, and now they can't get involved. They can't get involved with the NIL. People will just blow them off, and they'll spend more time in lawsuits. So I think if there's going to be any rule, I just think that a kid, if he leaves Ohio State and he wants to come to Notre Dame, he can't play for a year. And let's see if that kind of keeps things under wraps, because now you can't even be stern with a kid. If you have to, get into a practice, DJ, and get into a kid's grill and then sit him the next week, he's already making phone calls. And that's just my feeling. And that was it.
Brings up a good point, by the way.
But I'm just saying, probably you'll never come to
involved.
Jazz.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Next week we move back to Monday. I'll have no problem. But tonight I made a commitment here, and I'm about 2 minutes late.
Good to see you, Blue.
All
right, guys. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to everybody. I appreciate it. As usual, I appreciate everybody, kind of listening and their feedback. And to one of the gentlemen that asked, my health is a lot better. That being said, tomorrow I could be dead, but you never know. All right, guys, take care.
We'll see you next Monday, Blue.
We'll see you next Monday. That's a legend, man. That's a legend. A legend. Some other guys that played really well. Justin Scott had a good game. Zaquan Patterson, JoJo Trader got a pick. He got an interception playing cornerback too. So, and he did play cornerback at Chaminade as well. So, the kid's just an absolute all-around stud. So, we've got Derek Plas played really well. Our friend of the program, Derek
friend of the show.
Yep, played really well as well. So,
turning heads.
The future is bright. The future is bright, man. The future is bright for those guys. And you mentioned it, DJ, right? These recruiting classes have been outstanding. Lightfoot is a stud. I saw that game. I saw Booker Pickett just destroy people off the line. So I'm really excited. That was a position of need, because you lost some guys, and you get Nigel back and Mesidor back, which is great. And then you got Bain, and now you can keep building with these guys. So it should be fun. And
it's interesting. Go ahead, Justin.
No, I'm done. Go.
I was going to say, it's just interesting, too, because I believe they held a 2025 class combine while the All-American Bowl practice week was being held as well. So I got to see some 2025 kids, some videos on X or Twitter or whatever they call it these days. And it's just kind of cool that they're getting, the following year's class involved as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to watch. A name to watch for in the coaching ranks is a guy that we know here very well, depending on what happens. But, a lot of people are talking about DVD as well. Jamil Adai or some other coaches, I don't know what's going to happen. But he's a name to watch out for here. And I think that either way, we're in a good spot. And I think Miami's going to keep this thing rolling. Just got to get some guys in this transfer portal. And make it happen. So
and as you said, get some people out. So
and get some people out. Yes, it has to happen.
Some people got to hand in their playbook.
Ain't that the truth? Make sure you follow us on Twitter or X, whatever the hell you want to call it, at 6 Ring Canes. Make sure you check us out there, and of course, always check out our podcast anywhere you get your podcast. Apple, Spotify.
And Jeff, we got buckets tomorrow after the Louisville game, post-game show. Yes. So we'll talk about that and discuss whether I should keep going to games after I lost another one on Saturday.
I may try to go to the FSU game next week, so I'm working on that. May be there to cover that game, depending on what goes on Wednesday. But make sure you guys check out Buckets and check out the podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever it is you get your podcast. Follow us here on Twitter, and also subscribe to the YouTube, which is the Five Reasons Sports YouTube channel, and check us out there in the 6 Ring Kings as well, and click the like button. We do appreciate everything that you guys have done, and we look forward to this year for the Miami Hurricanes and their football team that's just getting going again, and looking forward to an exciting year this year. On that note, we will see you guys next Monday. See you later.
The 6 Ring Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Ring Kane Show. Yeah. The 6 Rings Kane Show. You know.